What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be doing a Q&A. So I pretty much put this post up just after I came back from YouTube because I've been dealing with an injury. I'm still dealing with the injury, guys, but I want to give you guys a little update that my injury is going very well. I'm pretty much progressing day by day. As you can see, I'm out of the sling, but I'm still gonna have to be doing rehab to continue to strengthen my arm and stuff like that to get full mobility back with my arm and stuff like that. So I want to give you guys that little update. But I did post a Q&A on my community tab so you guys can interact with me and ask me questions. I told you guys it could be wrestling related or non-wrestling related as long as you guys keep it respectful. But I'm going to be going through your questions and answering your questions the best that I can. I'm going to get through everybody's today. I'm going to try to get through everybody's today. We have 15. I should be able to get through those. I'm not going to waste any more time. So I'm going to start. I usually start from the bottom and I go to the top. But today I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to start from the top and then I'm going to go down to the bottom and go from there. So the first comment or question comes from not Alex, Sean. Favorite WWE moment of all time? This is tough. This is a tough one just because for me being a wrestling fan, I've gotten to see so many moments, whether if it may be in person or just watching at home. I feel like my favorite moment, and this may seem biased, but it's because I was there and I got to see it happen. Edge returning to WWE at the Royal Rumble in 2020. I know now this is when I really wasn't paying attention to the dirt sheets or anything like that. I still try to stay away from the dirt sheets as much as I can, even being a content creator. I wanna have that element of surprise, not of knowing something can potentially happen rather than knowing if it will or will not happen and stuff like that. But my favorite moment is Edge. I mean, everything that was going on with him leaving the WWE, him relinquishing the world title because of that injury, going away for about 7 years, and he came back at the Royal Rumble in my hometown, and he came back and he competed in the Royal Rumble, made it to like I think the final three or four. I think that was a really great moment to see happen on screen. So I think that might go down as my favorite moment, WWE moment of all time. The next question comes from Alex. What advice would you give a first time content creator kicking it with Leo when you first started watching to YouTube? I feel like if I had to give myself advice like from a couple years ago when I first started, I want to say in 2021, I feel as if just being yourself, doing it because you love it and because you want to make a difference in people's lives and people around you and everything like that. I feel like the person that you see now is almost just a completely different person than I was like back in 2021 just because I was very shy, camera shy. I wouldn't feel the way I am now back then because I was like really shy. I could not do anything, and I feel like at the time I'm at now, I'm just being able to be more. I've gotten more and more comfortable doing this, but I think it's that, and then pretty much also just being yourself and just doing this because you love it and what you want to do for people and stuff like that, and just putting smiles on people's faces and making people feel good through your content. So I think that just in itself is a win nonetheless. So I think that's something I would definitely tell my younger self when I first started doing YouTube. So, and next question comes from um, Gage. If you did a 8-person fantasy football league and you had to choose 4 female wrestlers and 3 male wrestlers, any company in the world today, who would you pick to join you? I mean, if it's 8-person, then it needs to be 4 female and 4 male. But 4 female, I would pick Rhea Ripley, EO, Tony Storm, Liv Morgan. I think those are my 4 that I would choose for my 4 for the female side of things. And in the men, I'm gonna choose Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland. Those are my 4. Those are my 4 that I'm gonna pick. The next comment comes from Gage once again. Earlier today, me and my older brother uh, Gunner both sub to your channel. I appreciate you guys subbing to my channel. By the way, what is your favorite match type of all time and least favorite match type of all time? Okay, thank you for the comment. My favorite match type of all time. This is a tough one just because the two that automatically come to my mind first is the Royal Rumble and Money in the Bank. Those are like my favorite pay-per-views of all time. And if you guys have been watching my channel for quite some time, people know I love the Royal Rumble and I love Money in the Bank. Some people would say I love Money in the Bank more than I love Royal Rumble, and you would not be wrong. But if I have to choose, I'm gonna say Royal Rumble just because I feel as if I love the concept of somebody winning that match and then being able to go on to WrestleMania and being able to cement their careers and legacies. We've gotten to see potential people win it and change their careers, reestablish their careers, new stars being made just by winning that. I think that's an awesome concept. And then if I had to pick least favorite, my least favorite match type. Ooh, my least favorite match type. Whew. I'm gonna say steel cage. My least favorite match type is steel cage. The reason why is just because I used to love steel cage matches, just because like you could win by different ways. But I don't like it nowadays when you have, you know, grueling matches and then it just ends, not really in the steel cage. It just ends with somebody escaping the cage, and I feel like it just kind of diminishes the feuds that kind of go into these matches. So I'm gonna say steel cage as my least favorite. Gunner asks me, what is your favorite accomplishment in your life so far? Oof. I think there's literally a couple that really come to mind. Me graduating, um, school, and I feel like just being doing YouTube. I feel like there's so many different accomplishments that I've, you know, look at. I feel like my I think I already always knew that I was going to graduate. I feel like just because I just knew it. I feel like I'm gonna go with one that I just didn't think I was going to be able to accomplish, and that's the one that I'm at now, where I'm at over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I When I first started doing YouTube, I I didn't think I was gonna actually be able to reach the goals that I set for myself. I always wanted to reach, 10,000, 100,000, and potentially a million. And those are some still goals that I still have and still have set up for myself. And when I first started, I didn't think I was gonna be able to get even 1,000. I didn't even think I was gonna be able to get 50, just because of when I first started doing YouTube back in 2021. I didn't know what I wanted to be about. I really didn't. I think it really took the pandemic happening for me to really sit down and discuss ideas that I wanted to, have, you know, for my channel. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to be about. I didn't know what I wanted to talk about. Shout out to Cody Rhodes. But I didn't know what I wanted to talk about on my channel. Like, I was throwing out so many ideas, and it came down to doing things that I was passionate about and doing that. I know people be asking me a lot of times, do I want to do horror stuff? I do, but sometimes it's a little bit more difficult than it is for me to come up with ideas on the fly for WWE and AEW at times. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, if I'm doing content, it's mostly going to be more, wrestling related, because wrestling is my first love, and then there's horror. But both of those are still my loves at the end of the day, and things I'm passionate about. It just for whatever reason, I seem to be able to find more stuff to do when it comes to the wrestling side of things than it is for the horror side of things. That doesn't mean I won't do horror content. It just may not be as frequent as I would be when if I'm doing wrestling content, but I would still do it. The next comment comes from Vance. What four cities in the United States would you most like to visit to attend a WWE show? Okay, WWE shows. I think one would have to be LA. I would love to go to LA to do that, to go to a wrestling show. I know that they did WrestleMania 39 a couple years ago. I think another one I would probably say maybe Philly. I think Philly, because if you look at just ECW as a whole, it's a wrestling city for sure. Um, I think those two are automatically would be on my list. Is just L.A. and literally Philadelphia. Another one I would have to put maybe Atlanta. Just Atlanta. I feel like I would love to kind of go visit there for sure. I think just seeing some of the people that I potentially love to see going there. I would plus I have a couple friends that stay in Atlanta that I would pretty much love to visit even then going to these wrestling shows. So um I would have to say my fourth one would probably ooh it's a tough one because there's so many different cities that I would love to potentially go visit. Like I would love to potentially go to, maybe. Uh, ooh, this is a tough one. I appreciate the comment and the question, Alex. Not Alex Vance. You got me thinking on this one, cause I already have Atlanta, I have Philadelphia, and have LA. I have to pick a fourth one. My fourth one, ooh, I would say, hmm, what is a city that I would love to visit? Because if you would have told me like outside of the U.S., then I probably would have my fourth one off the bat already. I would say my fourth one. I'm gonna say New York. I'm gonna say New York. New York, just because of the Barclays Center, just seeing some of my favorite matches happen in the Barclays Center, and then the whole SummerSlam weekend and seeing some of my favorite matches to happen there. I think that'd be a cool thing. I think another like if I had to have an honorable mention, I would pretty much say like Florida. I would love to go there too. So I think that's just a great one to have as well. The next comment or question comes from a Gunner. Which five men wrestlers would be on your all-time five-man Survivor Series team? Okay, Kurt Angle, 06. I would have him in my top five. Eddie Guerrero, Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, Bret Hart. I think those are gonna be on my five for sure. That's gonna be on my 5-man Survivor Series team. The next question comes from Sean. When should AEW start their own Hall of Fame? I honestly feel like they should start maybe this year, if not maybe next year, just because I feel like there's a lot of wrestlers that I feel like might be retiring. So we know Adam Copeland, I think, is going to be retiring either this year or maybe next year. Maybe they can have him be the first. Maybe they do Chris Jericho. Maybe Dustin Rhodes. I think those maybe Sting. I think those are like four people right off the bat that you could potentially put in the Hall of Fame, and I don't think people really would bat an eye. You can even throw Kenny Omega in there because I think he said he's gonna probably be retiring there very soon. So those are like already five people that you can put in your Hall of Fame, and I think would definitely be a great thing to have. So those are like the people that off them automatically come to my mind. But to answer your question, when they should start, I honestly feel like they should have been started doing that a long time ago. I don't know why. Maybe they feel like they might be copying WWE if they were to do that. But I don't think that's a problem for them to have their own Hall of Fame. I mean, TNA does it, so I don't think it's a big issue for them to have their own version of the Hall of Fame and honoring legends and stuff like that. So maybe you can even add none other than Luke Harper or Brody Lee. Put him in there. I would love to see him be part of that. Why not do it? The next question comes from Alex. Best WWE rivalry of all time. I think for me, there are literally so many that come to mind right now that it's kind of hard because like you have John Cena, Randy Orton, um, you have Edge and Cena, you have literally Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, you have Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, you have like Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Like it's so many different rivalries. It's kind of hard to pick, but if I'm gonna have to narrow it down, I think this is gonna be for me personally, just for me. I'm gonna say Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I feel like just going back and seeing those two go at it for like what I think 2 years, they were having some banger matches. It was a really intense, bloody feud, And I feel like that feud kind of elevated both of these guys in the grand scheme of things. And I think it's one of those feuds that I think you kind of just got to go back and watch. I think those two gave a lot to each other in the sense of in ring and then the promos, and we had the little segment where Shawn Michaels was ran over. They were trying to figure out who did it, and people were trying to figure out who did it. And when it came out a while later, it was Triple H that did it. Then it ignited this blood feud that took place in WWE. And it was really, really good to see the match types that they had. I think you had the 3 stages of hell over the world title. You had it at the Royal Rumble. I think those matches are still, stand the test of time. So I think that will kind of be something I kind of go back to. The next question comes from Alex. Next celebrity to be in a WWE match. The next celebrity to be in a WWE match. I mean, we've seen so many people already. We've seen Jelly Roll. We've seen Bad Bunny. We've seen Logan Paul. I feel like the next person we've seen maybe might be like a YouTuber. I feel like maybe it could be maybe a Mr. Beast, maybe it could be a KSI, maybe I Show Speed. Um, I think like me, I would just go BDE, even though he's doing his thing in the Indies. But shout out to BDE. Like I would love to see BDE kind of being able to mix it up in the landscape that is WWE right now, whether if it is on the main roster or if it's on NXT, because I feel like he can really be able to add some real life depth to whatever he is, and he can add a lot of importance to wherever he is. I think he's a guy that I think, if done correctly, has potential to be the future of wrestling. He has potential to be the future of wrestling, not as just a content creator because he's established himself, but now being able to break in and make a name for himself inside the ring as well. I think would be a really interesting story to see happen and play out on screen. I've been fortunate enough to follow him from his YouTube career. I've been watching him since like 2017, and then seeing where he is now with over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and now doing his thing in the wrestling business and the wrestling community and the wrestling world, having some great matches and stuff like that. We'd love to see what he's able to do on a Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. So that definitely would love to see him be the next celebrity to have a WWE match. The next question comes from Gage. If you could build a 5-man faction, one from Raw, SmackDown, TNA, AEW, and NXT, who would you pick, and uh, what would the name be? Who? Raw. Raw. I'm gonna go Seth. SmackDown. Roman. TNA. Moose. AEW. AEW. I'm gonna probably say Will Ospreay. NXT Obafemi, and I will call them the international alliances or interpromotional alliances. That's probably the only thing I can really honestly come up with as far as like a name, just because they're from different companies and they're having an alliance with each other. So it just pretty much writes itself. The next question comes from Gunner. Which 5 women wrestlers would be on your all-time 5-woman Survivor Series team? Mickey James, Mickey James, Trish Stratus, Lita, Victoria, and I have one more. I think I did say Beth Phoenix, but hmm, I'm gonna say Gail Kim. I think those are like the 5 that I'm gonna go with. Those are my 5. The next comment comes from Vance. What is one thing about Leo that everyone watching should know about you? I feel like one thing or something about me that people should know is like the fact that I love wrestling content. I love what I do. That I would hope that one day this can eventually take off, and this could be my full-time thing where I'm just able to continue to bring you guys more content. I can make a living off of this, and just being able to turn my dreams into reality, because it's one of those things where it's like I get criticized a lot just for the fact that not only me being a wrestling fan, but the fact that I want to do this full time and be able to take this serious. Like, I sometimes doubt myself. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I sometimes doubt myself, ask myself, even to this very day, like, do I really have what it takes? Do I really have what it takes to reach that next level? Like, is there something holding me back? What more do I need to change? Like, is there something about me that I need to change to make this a reality? Because I feel like sometimes I'm at a standstill and that I'm not progressing, but sometimes one thing can still be progression, even if it's like one subscriber or if it's like one view, it's still progression nonetheless. Sometimes fast progression is not always the progression. Sometimes slow progression is still good. So I'm kind of starting to get to that realization, but sometimes like I said, I still doubt myself, wondering if I have what it takes. Am I good enough? Am I just like less than? Sometimes I consider myself an outcast just because of things that I may have said in the past, but those are just my opinions sometimes on some situations and how I see them. Maybe other people might have a certain viewpoint than me, and that's fine. But sometimes I feel as if I am an outcast. I don't sometimes feel like I belong in the wrestling community. Sometimes I feel like that, I, just not there where I want to be, I'm very appreciative of the people that I have been able to, meet within my time of being a wrestling content creator, from Jugs, from Tino to the Flex Zone to Kicking It Ross to Dub to Trill Billy. Like being able to be fortunate enough to meet some of those people, and even the people within my community, from Sean to Alex, like being able to interact with you guys and talk wrestling even outside when I'm not on camera is always a highlight of my day. So when I have those opportunities to interact with you guys and to be able to talk wrestling, I don't take it for granted, because it's like this is what I'm passionate about. It doesn't matter like what time of day it is. I feel like I live and breathe wrestling. At one point in time, I wanted to be a wrestler, but unfortunately, I can't. So this is like the next best thing for me. And like I said, like it's one of those things that I hope and pray that I'm able to take this and be able to change my life by being able to do what I'm passionate about, what I love to do, more than anything. So I would hope that this does, happen, whether if it's a month from now, whether if it's a year from now. I would hope that I can come back to the video and say that I actually made it and I actually been able to change my life in ways that I never could imagine by being able to do what I love. And because of you guys supporting me, I was able to reach that. So um, I know it's still a work in progress. I know that there's more work to be done, and I'm gonna continue to push past through everything, even though like I said, sometimes I doubt myself and feel as if I have nothing more to give, but I still keep pushing past all that, because I can't reach that if I'm not pushing past certain things to get there. So definitely that's one thing I would say about me, is that I'm willing to push through a lot of things to be able to try to get to where I want to be, and so that people that been along on this journey that are no longer here can be proud of me, that I was able to make them proud because of I was able to turn my dream into reality. So it's a lot. It's one of those things where it's, for me, I have a chip on my shoulder and I carry that every single day. Sometimes people may not know it, but I do. I carry a chip on my shoulder every day because I have something to prove, not only to them, I have something to prove to myself. I have something to prove to you guys that I actually am able to do this. So yeah. The final question comes from Vance. If you had to describe Houston in 4 words, 4 or 5 words only, um, I feel like it's adventurous because I feel like there's a lot to do here. I feel like you have a lot of stuff to do here. Um, it's very informative because there's a lot of history that goes on here. Very busy just because um it's very huge here. It's like you can go to like the next town and still be in the same city. You know what I mean? So and it's like a lot of traffic here. It's a lot of traffic here. It's really like that in Texas in general. Like it's a lot of traffic. Um, And if I had to pick a fourth word, hmm, I feel like it's different from other cities. I feel like it's very driven in having fun, and when it depends on like what fun you talk about, whether it's just party or just going to the arcade. There's a lot of fun stuff to do, but I kind of feel like that kind of just goes inside with the adventurous aspect of things, but I not really. But I feel like those are just the type of four words that kind of come to my attention span and whatnot. But yeah, but those are the questions that you guys left for me. I appreciate every single one of you guys who left a comment, left a question. I'm definitely gonna be trying to do more of these um very often. I'm thinking of making this like a monthly series where you guys can ask me different questions and stuff like that. Give you guys an update on things that are happening and stuff like that. So definitely I might make this a monthly series. If you guys want to see that, leave a like on this video. Super kick that like button. Superman punch that post notification bell. And Spirit the subscribe button takes 3 seconds out of your day. Do those three things for me, helping the progression of my channel as well. But with that being said, hope Ed has a great day, great rest of your weekend, and I will see you guys in the next video.